This wasn't a gift. This was enslavement. And this was the result. The final shot of The Irishman is one of the most powerful and painful shots that Scorsese has ever put to screen. Here, Robert De Niro's Frank Sheeran sits alone, with nothing but the pain, regret, and loneliness inside him. What The Irishman does so well is give us a brutally honest look at the mob life. Then, in a seemingly meta way, a retrospective look from Scorsese on his own contribution to the almost mob glorification, which I've never really understood because there are always consequences to the choices his characters make. But naturally, people only saw the fun side and misinterpreted the films as the cool guys who get everything they wanted and the guys who run the streets. When in fact, it's a look at men with destructive behaviors and how it ends with not just themselves hurt, but everything and everyone around them in complete rubble. But this may be Scorsese truly trying to hammer that point in, which if that is the case, he does it beautifully. Frank needs direction and validation in his life. He discusses how he thrived in the army where he just followed orders, and then he moves to the mob where once again, like the army, he's killing and following orders. Here, he thinks he's found people who value him, but deep down, he knows that he always needs to be looking over his shoulder. That is until he found Jimmy Hoffa. Hoffa, while also corrupt, gives Frank his complete trust and friendship. He is the only person who Frank's daughter Peggy truly seems to like. In Hoffa, Frank almost finds a father figure, someone who loves Frank for who he is and not what he does. This causes Frank to try and look out for Hoffa, to protect him from the enemies he's making. In contrast to Jimmy Hoffa, there's Russell Buffalino, who could be a friend, but will always be Frank's boss. There's a fear that Russell casts over Frank. As friendly as he is, they both know that if Frank makes Russell angry, he'd be a dead man. So, like most things where corruption is involved, there can never be true happiness or friendship. And Frank will come to realize that sooner than he wishes. After years of serving the mob, Frank is given a ring by Russell. Russell declares that this makes him one of the most powerful mobsters in the world. But what Frank doesn't realize at first is that this ring binds his fate to the organization, and only this organization. Soon after this, Frank is forced to follow his boss's orders and kill his friend, the only man who truly cared for him and who he truly cared for. The glamorous life of being a mobster begins to show its consequences. No longer is it a life of celebrity. Now the glitz and glamour are gone, and all that's left is the death and carnage. Everyone is soon arrested, and one by one, the old begin to die off. Except Frank. He's left alone, with no one around to help him or be with him. The death he gave to so many people now haunts him 24/7, and it terrifies him, going as far as to avoid being cremated and buried because it's too final. He even begins to talk to a priest about forgiveness, only for one thing though. He's asking forgiveness for the killing of his best friend and the pain he caused Hoffa's family. But he can't bring himself to outright say it. We even see law enforcement trying to get him to come clean, a chance of redemption. They remind him that everyone else around him is gone. He has nothing left but to give closure to Hoffa's family. But in confessing, Frank would only be giving his daughter Peggy confirmation that her father is the monster she thought he was. All that Frank has left is an empty, lonely room with the door slightly open. Is the door open in hope that someone would come to see him? Is the door a reminder of when Hoffa would leave his door open to Frank as a sign of trust? Whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. No one is coming, and there's no comfort. They are all gone.